whether you are white collar or blue collar, fresh out of college or seasoned veteran, everybody's talking about it, jobs or the lack thereof. You know that 15 million people are out of work. The unemployment rate continues to hover around 10%. And if you include the folks who've just given up and stopped looking for work or who've taken part-time jobs instead of full-time jobs, that number is closer to 17.5%.
The board of directors of F.E.G.S. wanted to do something special and meaningful. They couldn't have honored me more by creating an institute, a strategic planning institute that would take the one issue every year that's most important for the welfare of society, to the benefit of the government, to America's place in the world and the global economy. This year it was work.
Even though I consider myself to be a realistic optimist, I am not an optimist when it comes to the outlook for work. A lot of people talk about the recession that we just had. I would say it wasn't a recession, that it was a massive debt liquidation.
It's not your father's labor movement right now. In fact, I see more non-union companies that are going out of business than union companies.
For every dollar a man works, a woman in the same work is earning 71 or 72 cents. There is a pay gap that can only be based on gender, and that is implicit bias in the system.
When you are tied into markets where the price is set, things are going quite well for you. So the farm economy in the plains is doing really well.
What we are stuck in right now is a change in work model and a change in the way companies are deciding on how to hire somebody. They are no longer hiring in anticipation for demand, they are hiring after demand.
What are the 3 or 5 most promising fields for college grads right now?
Well, healthcare is one of the big areas. Education, anything with green technology.
One of the challenges when you look at where are the jobs, I think you have to go back in the chain one second and say, where are the companies? Where are the companies that are going to create this job? And it starts with innovation, entrepreneurship, risk-taking.
And when the bigger companies are feeling good and expanding, that has a multiplier effect on the smaller companies.
What role does the government play in trying to foster these small businesses and these entrepreneurs?
Well, one of the things we're trying to do is help. It's very complicated to run a business to begin with, but trying to figure out the regulatory framework in the state and make it as easy as possible for businesses to get up and running.
I think that as we look globally and we look at what's happening with work, innovation really matters, but education does too. And the future jobs are going to the educated workforce, or they're going to some very low-end jobs in the service economy.
But our education system has the capacity to produce people who then create Google, Facebook, entirely new economic ecosystems that then in turn employ a lot of people and help transform the economy.
The biggest thing that you can get out of an education system is to be intellectually curious with a high degree of empathy. You get those 2 things in today's world, you can learn for the rest of your life.
But we're going to do a text messaging poll now, so if you would be kind enough to take out your mobile devices. By this time next year, the U.S. unemployment rate, which is currently 9.6%, will be, and you see you have 3 choices, higher, lower, about the same. That'll be tabulated and we'll see them instantly. 60% about the same. Does our panel agree?
I actually think there will be more people working next year at this time than this year.
But the rate might not necessarily, the overall rate might not necessarily go
Would
down.
not reflect that potentially.
We know the things that are awful. That does not overshadow what I think are these sort of basic fundamentals, that we are having growth, but it's not satisfying.
It's going to take several years for us to get back to where we were before.
And I think that's, based on our questions earlier, what our audience believes too. Look, we have just scratched the surface of this topic. Thank you so much for being here with us this morning. Your thoughts, the things that you brought to the forefront, gave us historical perspective. It's great we all got in a room and chatted and got some ideas out there, but let's take it to the next level.